Cowboys Nation, how are we doing today? Y'all doing all right? You make it to work? You okay? I'm making it. I mean, I'm wearing a Longhorn shirt today if that says anything to y'all. There's a new overall AP number one right now thanks to a massive win by the Longhorns. Georgia falls to number two despite winning by, well, just 1 point. Washington State gets some revenge on the University of Washington. The Cowboys are just an embarrassment to football overall, and Bryce Young gets benched. Hey, I'm Channing Curtis, a former sports reporter turned news anchor. Let's recap everything that happened this week in NFL and NCAA football. All right, let's start things off with a look at college football. There is a new number one in town, and yes, it's my boys down there in Austin. The Texas Longhorns showed up and showed out in that 56-7 win over the University of Texas San Antonio. Now, during the game, starting quarterback Quinn Ewers actually went out with some type of abdominal strain. Now, Coach Sarkisian says that he's going to be okay. It's just going to take a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, Arch Manning, yes, Archie Manning's grandson, the nephew of Peyton and Eli, yeah, he got his first chance at playing on the collegiate level, and that child did not disappoint. He ran for 1 touchdown and threw for 4 more in the game. Texas will next take on the University of Louisiana Monroe on this Saturday. Now, in the meantime, Georgia, despite winning, fell to number 2 in this week's AP rankings. Well, that's because they only won by 1 against the University of Kentucky, and they had to come back to beat the University of Kentucky, really. It was kind of a wild game. It was just like Georgia was stunned. I watched the entire thing, and in true Georgia fashion, they started off pretty slow in the first half, and you expected them to ramp things up in the second. They just never really did. It seemed like they never really clicked, or maybe Kentucky just had an awesome game plan against them. Either way, Georgia, despite winning, now falls to number 2. They won't play again until later on in this month when they face off against no one else other than Alabama. Now, rounding out the top 5 are Ohio State, Alabama, and Ole Miss. Looks like this year's SEC squads are something to look at. So last week, the Pac-12 made headlines once again, this time for not losing teams, but gaining 4 more. They gained 4 more teams, putting them at 6 teams in addition to Washington State and Oregon State. And Washington State this week took on their old conference rival and state rival, U Dubb, University of Washington, in the annual Apple Cup. This year was played in Seattle on what was supposed to be a neutral game site. I don't know how it's considered a neutral game site. University of Washington literally plays in Seattle, just a few miles away from Lumen Field. There's no way that's a neutral site, but whatever. Anyways, the Cougs went on to win and defeated U Dubb. And when I tell you, it's just like karma, because U Dubb is really, despite what anybody wants to say or think, they're kind of one of the main reasons why the Pac-12 dissolved. We all know this. And it was just nice getting some revenge for the little guys out there. All right, let's talk NFL now, because everybody else is talking about the Cowboys. We might as well. Now, let me go ahead and start things off by, if you haven't seen the rest of my videos, just know I am a diehard Cowboys fan, so I have earned the right to say these things and to criticize this team. And let me just say, this team did not show up. No one on the team showed up. Well, I guess Turpin played okay. CD had a couple of good plays. But other than that, like, the entire team just looked lackluster. I don't know what happened to the defense. Actually, I do know he's currently in Washington with the Commanders. I think that's part of the reason that, we looked the way we did. But the Saints came into Dallas and embarrassed that Dallas Cowboys team. They deserve every ounce of bad mouthing that they are getting today and over the coming days. I watched what Stephen A. Smith had to say, and I can't believe that I'm kind of agreeing with him. I can't. I will say this, though. At the beginning of the season, I said that the Cowboys were going to win 6 games. Right now, we've won 1, so I can't really be mad at that. But let me know what you think. So this is only for the Cowboy Nation fans. If you are not a Cowboys fan, or if your team won yesterday, I don't want to hear it. Disrespectfully, I don't want to hear your opinion. This is for the Cowboys fans only. Also, Panthers fans, y'all can weigh in as well, because y'all had a hard day on Sunday as well. So news just came out actually not too long ago that the Carolina Panthers are actually going to bench their starting QB Bryce Young this coming week against the Raiders when they play them. Instead, they're going to be starting Andy Dalton. So Young had a really tough time on Sunday. He only threw for 84 yards. 84 yards. Poor thing. Like, he had a really tough time. Hopefully, maybe getting to see Andy Dalton take some reps might help him out a little bit. But also, let's just be honest. The Carolina O-line isn't that great. We can't place all this blame on him. That's all for this week's football reactions here on the Coffee Chat. Give me a like and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to weigh in with your sports takes. I love to see them there in the comment section. I'll see y'all back here next week. Oh, hook 'em.